Howdy, I'm Dr. Weston, and I just wanted to tell you about a recent experience that I had. I've always loved a challenge and done lots of things. I played lots of sports in high school, and I played Division I rugby for a major university. I'm always looking for the next thing, and in another month or so, I turned 65 years of age, and in fact, I just got my Medicare card, and I don't know how excited I am about that, but I've just been looking for the next challenge, and my son got a hold of me about 6 weeks ago and told me about this Tough Mudder. And I'd heard about it, but didn't know exactly what it meant, and so we looked into it, and I made a commitment that we would go do the Tough Mudder together up in a little town called Beatty, Nevada. It's about 2.5 hours out of Las Vegas, and there's no other reason on planet Earth that anybody would go there. They don't really have dirt. It's all rock and volcanic and just a real forsaken place. But we entered a team, my son, a son-in-law, and one of his friends, and went up there to take this in. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about it. We started off, there were about 3,000 people, a little over 3,000 people who were involved in this. And they would start every 20 minutes, about 300 per dash. And I looked around as I got there, and there were a lot of athletic-looking people, a lot of younger people, military types. And I couldn't see anybody that was within 15 or 20 years of my age, and that scared me a little bit. But I got to tell you about some of the events that they had there. After the gun went off and we took off, and by the way, the average time that it takes to do this is about 3.5 hours. And the course runs up in Beatty. It was between 11 and 12 miles up and down mountains that were just made of volcanic rock. But as we took off, one of the first things we hit, they call affectionately the ice enema. And it's a huge dumpster from a building site that they filled with 2 truckloads of ice. And you jump into this, and they have obstacles, so you have to go clear under. And there never was clear water under there. It was all just like swimming through a snow cone. And that was quite an experience, kind of woke you up for the rest of the race. But they had wonderful things to challenge every aspect of your life. They had 10 and 12-foot walls you had to climb over. They had mud bogs that you had to climb through and go over and under things. They had a thing called the half pipe that was near the end that was a real slippery, large half pipe that you'd have to get a run at and try to go up and grab on and pull yourself up. Everything was covered with barbed wire. Probably one of the hardest things that I saw was the people that were going slower. The paths were very narrow, and it was hard to get around them. And so if you wanted to have a good time, you just had to wait for your break and break around them. About halfway through, they had a thing called the Wounded Warrior, where you'd had to pick up another person and carry them for 50 yards and then trade, and they would carry you for 50 yards. They had, one of the things I was dreading the most, but actually was the funnest, is they had 2 venues there that were 10,000 volt electric shocks. First one, you would crawl on your belly, and they had all these wires hanging down. You were in about a foot of water, and there was no way you were going to avoid many of these. And every time you'd get shocked, you'd scream, and it just felt like you were being hit by a baseball bat in the back of the head. And they had built a 15 to 20 foot tower that you would have to climb up and leap off of. And what happened was at the top, a lot of people were scared and they froze. And so when we climbed up to the top, if we would have waited for them, we would have been there a long time. So we weaned our way through it and just jumped down into the cold water. But it was really a fun thing. It was very, very challenging. And I'm looking forward to actually doing it again. At the end, they had the shock thing set up again, but you would run through it. And I thought I'd be smart, and I went through behind someone else, and that wasn't the smartest thing because the wires bounced off them and came back and wrapped around me, and was quite a charge we got out of it. But it was interesting. We had to wait at some of the venues 5 to 10 minutes, but our team, we came in first place in our in our group that went, and we were passing people that had left up to an hour and a half or more before us. Our finish time was an hour and 53 minutes, and if we would have known what we were getting into and really pushed, I think we could have done it much quicker. Let me just tell you what I think the best part of it was for me. And in fact, I kind of felt like I was cheating. It felt like I had an unfair advantage. In fact, I almost had a guilt like I had been blood doping or using performance-enhancing drugs, because for 2 days prior to the Tough Mudder, what I did is, while everybody else was eating spaghetti and pancakes and trying to carbo load, what I did is I just completely Sunwarriored it. For 3 to 4 meals a day for 2 days in advance, all I did was almond milk and coconut milk. I put Warrior Blend protein in it, Liquid Light, Ormus Super Greens, and I think the thing that was the best was the activated barley. And so I didn't carry a lot of extra bulk and ash in me from the foods that I was eating, and my energy was off the charts. I couldn't even believe it. The activated barley is supposed to last about 4 hours, and I think it was about 6 hours that we were totally gone in the drive and running in the race up there. And I'm telling you, I felt great. I didn't get sore the next day. My energy never let down, and we just kept the same cadence and speed up through the whole thing. So it was a great experience, and I would recommend it to anyone who wants to challenge themselves and see what they're really capable of doing.